Article time. I'm out writing. I'm out writing and walking. It's great. Thank God for technology in that aspect. All right, so energetic signatures. The story we speak, the stories we tell. Lord have mercy. Grand Rising. Sparkly Holly here for you for a little article. Energetic signatures. The story we tell before we speak. As we approach the summer solstice, the season of fullness is upon us. The gardens are growing, the days are long, the seeds planted months ago are beginning to reveal what they have become. It is a natural time to pause and ask ourselves, what have I been cultivating? Lately, I've been reflecting on what I call an energetic signature. Not in a mysterious way, not in a fortune teller sort of way, simply in the way a garden speaks without words. A sunflower doesn't have to announce itself. An oak tree doesn't have to explain its strength. A rose doesn't need permission to bloom. You know them by their presence. And people are very much the same. A few mornings ago, Chris and I found ourselves enjoying breakfast at Andy's Flower Power and Bakery here in Panama City Beach. If you haven't been, go. The food is fantastic. The atmosphere is welcoming. The staff remembers people. The strawberry cake is worth every bite. We had already visited once before and were delighted to see the same waitress. She remembered us. We remembered her. It was one of those little moments that mattered. And as Chris and I sat talking at breakfast, or over breakfast, I noticed a gentleman moving across the restaurant. That's the owner, I said. Chris looked up. You think so? No, I know so. In fact, I was about 1 second away from yelling, "Hey, Andy," across the restaurant to watch him turn around and prove my point. I had never met him. I had never researched his business. I had never seen his picture. Yet there was something unmistakable about the way that he carried himself. Chest up, shoulders back, head high, moving through the room with purpose, checking on guests, paying attention, comfortable in the space he had created. He wasn't demanding attention. He wasn't asking for recognition. He simply belonged there. A few moments later, he stopped by our table and introduced himself. Sure enough, Andy, the owner. The signature matched. As we talked, he shared stories about family recipes that had been passed down through generations, including a strawberry cake recipe with roots stretching all the way back to Italy. Real strawberries, real ingredients, real care. Real quick, like I gotta sit. Holy guacamole. Okay. Yeah, almost 4 miles walking. Let's keep going. Then came the moment that nearly cost me a bite of cake. Andy made a comment about our snowflake generation and the importance of hard work. I laughed so hard I was grateful I wasn't actively chewing because the cake was far too good to waste. But beneath the humor was something deeper. His point was simple. Success doesn't arrive because we want it. Success arrives because we show up. Again and again and again. One customer, one recipe, one lesson, one day, 1 year, compounded. You don't accidentally wake up one morning with your name on the building. The building is simply evidence of years that came before it. The same thing happens in people. Take my husband Chris, for example. Around the fire department, people call him Captain all the time. The amusing part is, he isn't currently wearing Captain bars. Yet coworkers, friends, colleagues regularly call him Captain anyways. Older firefighters, younger firefighters, people who know him well, people who barely know him at all. Why? Because people respond to what they experience. Chris always has something. A tool, a bag, a flashlight, an extra shirt, a backup plan, a solution. Thank God for the solutions. He's prepared before the problem arrives. He carries himself like someone who can help, someone who can serve, someone who can lead, someone who can put out the fire, literally and figuratively. The title may arrive later, but the energetic signature is already there. Sometimes people recognize who they are becoming before we do. They recognize who we are becoming before we do, I experienced something similar when I first met Karen Key Smith shortly after moving to Bay County. I had no clear plan, no particular direction. I was simply following a nudge that said, go talk to Karen. So I did. Karen's one of those people with an energetic signature, whose energetic signature enters the room before she does. She is petite, colorful, stylish, always accessorized, always recognizable. If you've ever seen her little white vehicle with the Be Sweet tag, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But her true signature isn't her style. It is her resilience. During our first conversation, she shared pieces of her life story that would have broken many people. Family struggles, addiction, loss, pain, heartache, and yet there she was, still showing up, still serving, still smiling, still shining, still choosing sweetness. I remember I stopped her mid-conversation and I said, you are a powerhouse of a woman. Because she is. Not because life was easy, because she continued to bloom anyways. That same meeting became one of those beautiful moments where I found myself speaking words I hadn't planned. The conversation turned toward homeschooling, toward family, toward purpose, toward path. I shared what was on my heart, and it felt less like advice and more like affirmation, not telling someone who they should become, simply reflecting what was already trying to emerge. Months later, when I needed help finding a lender who understood business and community, Karen immediately knew who to call. The referral was incredible. Thank you again. Another Bay County golden nugget. Another person deeply rooted in service, relationships, and doing business the right way. For now, I'll leave him unnamed. Not because he's a secret, but because I have a feeling his story deserves its own chapter. If you're local and genuinely need a lender who values people as much as paperwork, reach out. I will happily share and point to him, to you, or you to him, all in the right direction. And that's when I realized something. Karen's energetic signature isn't real estate. It's connection. She sees people. She knows people. She helps people. That's what stays with you. The more I reflect on these encounters, the more I realize that what we call energetic signature may not be mysterious at all. Perhaps it is simply the visible evidence of who we have been becoming. It lives in our habits, our posture, our values, our choices, our consistency. It shows up in the way we care for others and in the way we care for ourselves and our land. Years ago, when I first started sharing affirmations online, I would sign them with a simple phrase: commit to consistency. Not perfection, not fame, not overnight success. Commit to consistency. If you're going to do it, do it. Then do it tomorrow, then next week, then next month, then next year. That's how a pencil mark becomes a pen. That's how a pen becomes a Sharpie. That's how a Sharpie eventually becomes lights on a billboard. Not because you're louder, because you've been showing up long enough for people to recognize the pattern. And that brings me to something I care deeply about: our children, our families, our communities. We spend so much time asking people what they want to be. Perhaps a better question is, who are you becoming? A gardener doesn't force a sunflower to become a rose. A gardener learns what was planted and then provides what is needed: water, sunshine, nourishment, space, support, time. We need to cultivate, not cut down. We need to nurture, not diminish. We need to help our children discover the unique thumbprint they arrived with. No two are alike. Not a single one. Not on this whole little spinning rock we call home. Y'all, come on, wake up. Every thumbprint is unique. Every flower is unique. Every tree grows according to its own design. Every person carries a signature all their own. The goal isn't becoming someone else. The goal is becoming more fully yourself. That belief sits at the heart of Raised to Bloom and the flower oracle I've been creating. Because every bloom begins with a seed, and every seed carries potential. Not guaranteed outcomes, potential. Potential that must be cultivated, planting, watering, sunning, nurturing, harvesting, replanting, again and again and again and again and again and again. Whether you know me as Holly, the Sparkly Holly, or Baybella Blaze, each chapter has taught me something different. Yet one lesson continues to bloom through them all. Success is following your life path. I believe that. Not because the path is easy, but because the path invites us to embody who we are designed to become. And perhaps that question belongs not only to individuals, but to communities too. What is Bay County's energetic signature? What do we want to be? What do we want to feel like? Taste like? Move like? Because communities have energetic signatures too. They are built by the people who live there. The business owners, the artists, the teachers, the gardeners, the firefighters, the mothers, the dreamers, the doers. One family, one business, one act of service at a time, compounded. I know that Bay County has some beautiful gold nuggets. I've met them. Andy, Karen, the lender she connected me with, my husband, the people quietly serving behind the scenes every day. It's time to shine them up. As we approach the solstice, I leave you with a few questions. What is your energetic signature? How do people feel when they are around you? What memories remain after you've gone? What qualities do people consistently recognize in you? What are you cultivating? The garden's waiting. The season is here. The seed already knows what it wants to be. Will you force or will you flow? Let me know. Create a life you don't need a vacation from. Sparkle on and blaze your trail.